Hi guys, welcome all. Welcome to the Educational Norzo. Today the topic of presentation is all about the PLSQL trigger. Okay, let's start. Okay, let's we take the proper definition of trigger. Trigger are stored program which is automatically executed or fired when some event is occurred. Trigger are in fact written to be executed in response to any of the following events. Following are some event. First one is a DML statement. The DML statements means a data manipulation statements which include insert, update, delete. After that, there is a DLL statement. The DDL statement means a data definition statements which include create, alter, or drop. And after that, there is a database operations which include the server error, log on, log off, startup, or shutdown. Okay, first we try to understand what will be the trigger to a simple analogy. Suppose a person going for an ATM to withdraw amount or deposit an amount. When he deposit or withdraw an amount, then he will get an SMS like that much amount is debited or that much amount is credited. So there are two types of actions is happen. He going and either deposit or amount or withdraw an amount. And the next one is the action automatically performs. Means a person perform task is an event happens. This event is automatically triggered action like a getting an SMS. Okay, take one more example. There is an account table which has information about all the account and its balance. The moment either an update or delete or insert happens to this balance, so this is now very much related to an event. Any event happens on a table, we can write a PLSQL code which can be automatically fired. So, see the word clearly. I again repeat that. The PLSQL block automatically fired means we are not going to fire that. So the clearly the moment is either update, delete or insert happens in the table, this particular piece of code automatically fired, which can in fact send the SMS or it can trigger any operation. So it is called as a trigger. Okay, there are many purposes of the trigger, so we should take some of this. The first one is the auditing. In auditing, whenever any changes happens in the database data, typically they will audit. So trigger is one of the technology by which audit the data. After that, there is a next one, enforcing complex referential integrity. Means in that what we are the integrity constraint which will cannot enforce through foreign key primary key relation that we can enforce through a trigger. The next one is a logging. It is a very similar like an auditing. Means whenever you want to capture who changed the particular data or history of changes, you can use a trigger for logging the information. The next one is a enforcing security for transaction. In that, suppose in a particular table you don't want to anyone delete a record, then you can block the delete transaction itself. Means whenever someone delete it, just throw an exception, so you are completely blocking the delete transaction. So using a trigger to enforce the security. The next one is a data replicating to the multiple tables. Means whenever a record will be inserted into the one table, so in the same time you want to copy the same data to the multiple tables, so you can write the trigger which will get automatically for whenever insert happens, just copy the data to the multiple table as you need. The next one is a prevent invalid data or transaction. In that, suppose you can write a trigger to block a insert, update or delete what for our transaction. You can even give the logical checks. Like someone try to update a value more than 1 lakh debit or credit amount. So it is saying like invalid data. So you can see the conditional check also block. Okay, this is that how to create a trigger. This is the syntax for creating a trigger. Okay, let's check the first line. Create or replace trigger, trigger name. This is for creating, replacing or updating a trigger having the some name. After that there is a before, after, instead of and insert, update or delete. Here this is for determining the time when the trigger will be fired, means either before or after or instead of. Basically, the instead of is for creating a trigger that has a view. Then for each row, this is for determining the row level trigger, that is the trigger will be fired for each row that is modified. Means as the trigger will be fired just once when the SQL statement is executed, which is known as a table level trigger. There are two more triggers, row level trigger and statement level trigger. We all know that. So what is the basic difference between that? The basic difference between that is in a row level trigger is get executed for each record that get updated by the DML statement, and The statement level trigger, it is get executed only once by the event statement. Now again, when in bracket condition, this gives a condition for row for which the trigger would be executed. This is applicable for the row levels trigger. Again, there is a declaration session, and in the declaration session there is a declarative statement. That declarative statement store the result comes from the executable statement. Okay, in a begin session there is an executable statement. That executable statements perform the actual task. And again, that there is an exception session, and exception session there is an exception handling statement. First, one thing keep in your mind, when you write any kind of code, you should write an exception. You should write the exception statements. That exception statement helps you to find the error. And again, that after that there is a end, means the end of our trigger. Okay, let's take the example. For example, I have a customer table, and that customer table have a 5 columns: ID, name, age, address, and salary. And our task is we have to find the salary difference between the old salary and the new salary. Okay, let's check. The first one is a create or replace trigger, display salary changes. Here the display salary changes is the name of our trigger. Before, delete or insert or update on the customer, means that perform before we are inserting or updating on that particular table. For each row, it is for the every row. In a when condition, there is a new.id is a greater than 0, means perform that task when the id is a greater than 0, means the id must be a greater than 0. When the id is less than 0 or equal to 0, that is not accepting, and the not accepting previous code. Okay, in a declare session there is a sal difference number. That function is used to store the result comes from the executable statements. Okay, in a begin statement there is a salary difference is equal to new.salary minus old salary. This performs the actual task, means when we subtract the new salary from the old salary, we get the salary difference. Okay, after that there is a dbms underscore output dot put underscore line old salary. This is for accepting a previous salary. The next one is a dbms underscore output dot put underscore line new salary. This is for accepting new salary, means our current salary. And after that there is a dbms underscore output dot put line salary difference, that print the actual salary difference. After that there is a end and backslash, and now our trigger is created. Okay, let's check the output. Okay, for output we have to perform some operation on the trigger. The first one is a insert operation, means we are inserting some values in the table. We all know the basic syntax of insert. Insert into table name, in a first bracket the column names, there is a one keyword values, and in another bracket there is the value mentions. Okay, let's check the output. Our new salary is 7,500, but the salary difference is not calculated. Why our salary difference is not calculated? A new record is created and the previous salary is unavailable. The previous salary and the salary difference computation comes null for this output. Okay, let's check other operation. There is a update. We all know the basic syntax of update. Update customer set salary equal to salary plus 500 where id equal to 2, means update the salary of the customer whose id equal to 2 and add 500 to their current salary. Okay, let's check the output. Our old salary is 1,500 and our new salary entered as a 2,000. So the salary difference is 500. Means once the update operation is completed in the customer table, the trigger get executed. Okay, these are some website. This is more beneficial website. You should visit that website to get a more and more knowledge about this topic. Okay, thank you so much guys to watching this video.